I'm Laura. Welcome back to the Creating a Balanced Budget course, and now we're going to get into savings. Savings is by far the most important part of this course, so I'm glad you made it back, and I can't wait to get into it with you. Now that you know how much you make and how much you spend, you know how much you save. But I'm going to help encourage you to save more, spend less, and put that money towards your future, because the more you save, the better off you'll be in the future, and you're the only one who's going to take care of your future. You're the one who needs to save for your retirement, save for any long-term plans you have of home ownership or travel or anything else. And so it's important that you also understand why it's so important to save and that you want to save. So that's what we're going to do in this course. So when you think about how much you want to save, you have to think about your future goals, because those things are together. So you need to figure out what you want your life to look like. Do you want to retire early? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to own your home? Do you want to own a second home or a vacation property? Do you want to give charitably? Do you want children? If you've answered yes to any of these, or think about your own priorities, that's why you save. You save for your future, and you save for what you want. It's not an abstract thing in the future. It's your priorities. Now, when you're looking at goals, research says that the more you make them concrete, you visualize them, you write them down, they're better. You're more likely to keep them and stick with them. So I'm going to get you to write your goals down. You're going to be descriptive. You're going to write how you would feel. And you're going to write what it means to you. So for example, if you want to own a home, you might say the neighborhood, the size, when. You might say how it feels, that it makes you feel secure, means you can entertain, means you have a place to call your own, and what does it mean to you? So does it mean that you feel accomplished? Does it mean that you have met an objective that has a big impact to your life? What is that meaning? Write all those things down. So now we're going to look at how much do you save. And as I mentioned, saving is the absolute most important thing you can do for your future. If you don't save money, you're not going to get ahead, no matter how much you make. If you have a millionaire, if you have someone who makes $1 million, they're not necessarily a millionaire. It's how much they save. So if you make $1 million and you spend $1 million, you have not increased your financial net worth. If you make if you make $50,000 and save $5,000 to $10,000, that's an increase to your net worth, and that's what we're focused on. So really focus on how much you're saving, because that's the piece that you can impact to improve your financial future. So I want to show you a chart which helps me understand why it's important to save so early, and I hope it does the same for you. So $10,000 a year is a lot, but it's quite reasonable to put away for retirement, and we're going to use it as an example. Now, if you put $10,000 away each year, and you invest it in index funds, and you start when you're 20, you just finished university, you should expect to have almost $3,000 at retirement, which is 6.3 times the return on investment. So it's not just that you've accumulated 10,000 plus 10,000 plus 10,000. You're making a 630% return on that investment. Now, don't worry if you're a little older and you start when you're 30. You still end up with $1.5 million and 400% return on your investment. This obviously shows the impact of 10 years. That 10 extra years of saving really increases your wealth. But as always, it's better to start later than never. And same if you're 40 and 50. The returns get significantly lower, but they're still much more than not saving or than not putting your money in investments. So to me, this says save early for the maximum return. And that's how you can get to something like $3 million by just saving $10,000 a year. So to get to numbers on how much I think I should save each year, I use some expert guidance as a baseline. So first we'll use David Ramsey. He's well known in the personal finance space, and he says to put away 15% of your income. Now that is after tax. You multiply your income after tax by 0.15 for 15%. Another common rule is the 50-30-20 rule, and this one is 50% wants, 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings, and so calculated the same way. Your after-tax income multiplied by 0.2. Now both these are focused on how much you should save each paycheck or each year, and I find these to be easier because it's concrete. You know exactly how much you're going to save. So it's a good baseline, and if you aren't saving 15 or 20%, set this as your first target. Now, there's another way to look at the expert guidance, and it's on how much you'll need when you retire. So the easiest one to look at is some people say you'll need 10 to 25 times your income at retirement. So you multiply your at retirement income by 10 and up to 25 times, and that will get you a number you should have before you retire. There's another rule that says you can withdraw 4% of your total investments each year for 30 years and have enough money to make it through that 30 years. So this one is, if you have a sum of money, you can divide it and see how much you could take out each year for 30 years and be able to live on it. So for this one, you then take out multiply your expected needs in retirement and multiply that by 1 divided by 4%. And that's how much you need when you retire. Now, I find these to be excellent guides as well, but they're not as concrete and not as actionable, because that doesn't help you with how much you should save right now. But they do help with a complete picture of how much you need when you retire. So let's put these with some examples. We're going to use someone who makes $75,000 now and expects to make $100,000 when they retire. So a gradual increase over their career. Now, if we use the first two, which are income, we multiply the after-tax income by 15 or 20%, and that gets you a projected required savings of between $8,500 and $11,250 each year. So those are aligned with the $10,000 a year. Maybe you should save a little more if you're making $75,000. Now if we look at the how much you will need when you retire, we'll multiply that retirement income by 10 and 25. We'll also take out the 4% rule, so we'll look at what you need at retirement and multiply that by 1 divided by 4%. So that gives us a range of $1 million to $2.5 million as a retirement need. Now, one piece here, we've used the after-tax income for saving, but we've used before tax for how much you'll need in retirement, because you'll need to pay income on either your RSP or unregistered accounts, so income tax on your RSP or unregistered accounts when you take that out for retirement. So let's use this graph again and see how it compares to the rules of thumb. Now, saving $10,000 a year is right in between the 50-30-20 rule and Dave Ramsey's 15% if you're making $75,000. So obviously this needs to adjust based on your income, but it shows us that that is a pretty good goal. We also see that it will meet your, depending on when you start, it'll meet your future needs. Again, you have to adjust these numbers if you're making more or less than $75,000, but if you're about 20, you start saving $10,000 now, and you expect you'll make about $100,000 when you retire, you will have enough money to last you through retirement. So just kind of validates that we're in the right ballpark. If you get to saving $10,000 a year, depending on your income, 15 to 20%, you should be on track. Now, another key point is how much you're going to need. So we started at the rule of thumb, and I think that is a great place to start if you haven't already reached there. But there are lots of things that come up that will increase how much you need to save. Your kids' education, traveling in retirement, extended health care coverage, owning your home and retiring in it, retiring early, leaving money for your family, leaving money for charity, or any combination of these things mean you should probably increase how much you save, because 15 to 20% is a kind of a baseline. So if you want a more luxurious or expensive retirement, you need to account for it. Now, let's put this into action. Figure out how much you save now. Figure out if it's enough. So you're looking at the numbers you've already calculated. Are you hitting at least 15 to 20%? You need to figure out if there are ways to increase how much you save. So if you're not saving enough, the next section will help with some ideas on that. And if you aren't happy, set some goals you can work towards. So if you're at 10% now and you know you need to get to 20, think about some ways that you can start to get to 20% and set yourself a time goal, and we'll figure out the ways to get there in the next course. So again, I really want to stress the importance of saving. It is how you'll have options in your future. So thank you for making it to the saving course. This is, to me, the most important thing you can do for your financial future, so I'm glad you agree and put the time in. We will do the next course, which is making a budget. They'll have some ideas on how to save money if you need to, and setting a budget that you can live with. So join me in the Creating a Balanced Budget, Making the Budget course next. Thanks.